When people don't respect you, one of the first things they do is question your decisions, your actions, and sometimes even your very existence. They poke at your choices like you're some puzzle they get to unravel. Why'd you do that? Why didn't you say this? Who do you think you are? It's like they've got a magnifying glass on every move you make, and before you know it, you're feeling this itch, this pressure to defend yourself, to prove why you deserve a seat at the table. Why you're worth more than their sideways glances or half-hearted nod. They make you feel like your whole life needs a justification letter stamped and approved by them. But let me hit you with the truth right out the gate. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you choose to live your life. Not a single soul. The Bible says in Galatians 1:10, am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Or am I trying to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. That's the line in the sand. Your worth isn't up for their vote. You're not here to dance for their claps or grovel for their nods. You're here for a higher purpose. Think about it. How many times have you caught yourself shrinking, explaining, bending over backwards just to get someone to see you? Maybe it's that co-worker who smirks when you say no to extra work, or that friend who rolls their eyes when you set a boundary. Or even that family member who acts like your dreams are a joke. Disrespectful people love that game. They love putting you on the defensive, watching you squirm to justify your every breath. Here's the deal. God didn't knit you together, didn't breathe life into you, just for you to spend it proving yourself to folks who've already checked out. You're not their project, you're his masterpiece. So let's unpack this. How do you stand firm when the world's trying to knock you down? Because this isn't just about surviving disrespect, it's about thriving through it. Buckle up, this is real talk. Disrespectful people have this knack. They love to make you feel like you've got to justify your choices, like you're on trial and they're the judge, jury, and executioner all rolled into one. They'll hit you with the questions, why'd you set that boundary? Who do you think you were saying no? Why didn't you snap back when they trashed you? Why are you changing, don't like chaos anymore? Why are you so quiet now, focusing on yourself instead of jumping into their drama? They'll question every move, why you're choosing peace over their mess, why you're guarding your time instead of entertaining their nonsense. And if you're not careful, if you don't catch it quick, you'll trip right into their trap, over-explaining. You'll start spinning your wheels, trying to make them see your side, trying to paint your worth in neon lights so they can't miss it. But let me save you some time. When someone doesn't respect you, they're not interested in understanding you. They're not leaning in to learn. They're listening to argue, to poke holes, to keep you on edge. I've been there, caught up in that spiral. A while back, I had this friend, let's call her Ted. Every time I pulled back, say no to her last-minute plans or her guilt trips, she'd fire off these questions. Why are you being so distant? What's wrong with you lately? I'd sit there, phone in hand, typing out these long texts, paragraphs, y'all, explaining why I needed space, why I was tired, why I couldn't keep pouring into her chaos. I just said, wait for that, got it? But instead she twisted. You're too sensitive, or you're overreacting. Hours wasted, energy gone, and I'm still the bad guy. That's when it clicked. They don't want your truth. They want your surrender. Proverbs 29:25 says, fear of man will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe. Over-explaining is that snare. It's you handing them the reins to your peace, looking for validation in a desert where it'll never grow. It's exhausting, it's draining, and it's a game you can't win. You know how it goes. You start overthinking every word. Maybe I should have said it softer. Maybe I should have added more details. Maybe if I defended myself harder, they'd get it. Your brain's running laps, replaying the scene like a bad movie, wondering if a different script would have flipped the switch. But here's the cold, hard truth. No amount of explaining will ever be enough for someone who's already decided they don't value you. They've got their mind made up before you even open your mouth. I remember this one time at work. My boss kept nitpicking my hours, questioning why I wasn't staying late like everyone else. I'd explain, I've got a kid to pick up, I'm still hitting my goals. But he'd just smirk, shrug, move on. Wore me out trying to prove I was enough. Then I realized, truly confident, self-assured people don't sit around justifying their every move. They do what feels right to them and keep it pushing. Psalm 139:14 says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. That's you, God's handiwork, not their punching bag. You're not here to audition for their approval, respect you. They don't need a dissertation on why you're you. They trust your decisions. They see your heart. They know you're capable of steering your own ship. But the ones who don't, they want you spinning, doubting, chasing their okay. Stop running that race. It's rigged. You're not here to convince them. You're here to live God's plan. Let that sink in. Your worth's already signed off by the one who matters. When people don't respect you, they don't take your words seriously. Not even a little. You can talk all day about what you won't tolerate, what you won't allow, how you expect to be treated. Lay it out crystal clear. But if your actions don't match your mouth, those boundaries, they're just hot. People will test you. They'll push your limits to see what they can sneak past. Ignore your no like it's a suggestion. Dismiss your feelings like they're background noise. Pretend they didn't hear you the first. I had this neighbor once kept borrowing stuff, never returned it. Acted like my please stop was a joke. I'd repeat myself, hey, I need that back. And he grinned, promised, and do it again. If all you do is keep talking, keep nagging, you're teaching them your boundaries are negotiable, that you'll bend if they push hard enough. Matthew 5:37 says, all you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. God's telling us, keep it clear, keep it firm. A boundary isn't something you just declare like a press release. It's something you enforce with action. If someone's consistently disrespectful, talking down, crossing lines, don't argue about it. Distance yourself. If they take advantage of your kindness, stop handing them your energy on a platter. If they disregard your time, quit making yourself available 24/7. Words mean nothing to people who've already decided your no doesn't count. I stopped answering that neighbor's knocks. Suddenly, he got the memo. Actions speak, let yours rule. Now, here's where it gets tough. Enforcing boundaries often means walking away. It's not just saying enough. It's being okay with losing people who won't respect you. Letting go of those who'd rather push than honor you. That's the hardest part, and it trips up so many of us. We think if I just explain it better, if I communicate more, maybe they'll change. I tried that with Tara, kept laying out why her drama was too much, hoping she'd shift. People don't change because you told them to. They change when they feel the cost of losing you. When your absence hits harder than your words ever could. James 4:7 says, submit yourselves then to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Sometimes resisting means stepping back, submitting to God's peace over their chaos. Some folks will guilt you, you're too sensitive, you're abandoning me. Or flip it, call you dramatic for daring to have a line. That's just manipulation, smoke and mirrors to keep you hooked. Don't fall for it. I had to let Tara go. Stopped replying, stopped showing up. She called me cold, but I called it freedom. You've got to be willing to lose what's draining you to gain what's waiting. Peace, respect, real connection. It's a trade worth making, even when it stings. One of the biggest mistakes you can make is looking for validation from people who don't respect you. It's a soul sucker. Pure exhaustion. You pour out your heart, your time, your energy, thinking if you just shine bright enough, they'll see your worth. But they won't, no matter how much you give, how high you jump. They'll never hand you that you're enough stamp. I used to chase it with this old boss, worked late, took on extra, just for a good job. Never got it, just more critique. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Your value isn't tied to their applause. It's rooted in God's hand. Think about it. A diamond doesn't stop being valuable just because someone's too blind to see it sparkle. A masterpiece doesn't fade because the wrong eyes glance past it. I've spent years jumping through hoops, explaining my hustle, my quiet, my dreams to people who'd already written me off. Wasted time. The right people, they'll cheer you without a script. The wrong ones, they'll keep you begging, keep you small. Stop chasing the yes, God's already said it. Your worth isn't on trial, it's a fact. When you're dealing with folks who don't respect you, talking too much is a trial. Explaining, defending, reacting, spilling your guts. You think they're hearing you out, but nah, they're not listening to understand. They're listening to twist, to dismiss, to find ammo. I learned that with an ex-friend, every time I'd vent about her flakiness, she'd flip it, use my words to call me needy. The more you talk, the more you hand them to play with. Ecclesiastes 3:7 says there's a time to be silent and a time to speak. Silence is power. It's your shield. The most confident people in the room, they're not the loudest. They observe, they weigh, they hold their cards close. I started zipping it, stopped arguing, stopped pleading, watched instead. And you know what? You see things clear when you're quiet. The fake smiles, the half-baked apologies, the way they dodge accountability. Silence makes them squirm. They expect you to react, to break, to give them something to work with. But when you don't, when you just sit back, steady, unbothered, they unravel. I'd watch Tara text me nonsense, waiting for my essay response. Got nothing but crickets. She'd double text, flustered. That's the shift. Silence takes the wheel back. It's not passive, it's intentional. Speak less, see more, stand taller. The most powerful thing you can do when people don't respect you is walk away. Not storming off in a huff, not spitting venom, not even proving a point. Just stepping out with confidence, with self-respect. With this quiet knowing that their disrespect isn't your load to carry. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all this through him who gives me strength. It's not easy. It takes guts to leave, to let go, but God's got your back, giving you the strength to choose yourself. They expect you to stay, to argue, to beg, to keep tolerating their half-hearted crumb. I had this cousin, always cutting me down, acting like my wins were low. Kept showing up, hoping he'd see me. One day I just stopped calling, stopped visiting. Power shifted. Walking away flips the script. They're left with no reaction to feed off. No access to your energy, no chance to keep you small. Some won't care, pretend it's nothing. Some will try pulling you back, guilt trips, gaslighting. You're the problem. My cousin called me selfish, said I'd regret it. I didn't. Jeremiah 17:7 says, blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. Trust God's path over their noise. Walking away isn't loud. It's knowing your value so deep you don't need their echo. It's peace over pride, dignity over drama. Let them feel your absence. That's the lesson they won't forget. The moment you stop seeking validation from the wrong people, you become untouchable. No more begging, no more hoops, no more shrinking to fit their box. You rise, you glow, you stand firm. Your energy shifts. You start pulling in people who lift you, who see you without a sales pitch. Jeremiah 7 says, blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. That's your anchor. Not their nods, not their likes, but his truth. When you know your worth, really know it. Bone deep, you stop trying to convince people to respect you. You don't need their mirror, you've got God. I used to hustle for scraps of approval, family, friends, strangers online, until I got it. Their disrespect doesn't rewrite my story. It's theirs to carry, not mine. Picture this, you're not the one scrambling anymore. They're the ones wondering why you're not chasing, why you're not breaking, why you're walking taller than ever. I stopped running that race, quit texting Tara back, quit proving my hustle to that boss, quit begging my cousin to see me. And you know what? The air got lighter. The right people started showing up, folks who cheer without me asking, who respect my no without a debate. That's the shift. When you stop feeding their game, you start winning yours. You're not just surviving disrespect. You're thriving past it, untouchable, unshakable, rooted in God's yes. So here's your move. Don't argue, don't explain, don't lower yourself to prove a thing. Let your silence speak. Let it echo louder than their noise. Let your actions set the standard, show them your boundaries on a suggestion. Let your absence be felt, walk away with your head high, knowing you're worth more than their crumbs. You're not here to beg for respect. You're here to stand in your power, to surround yourself with people who see you, to walk through life knowing you're worthy because God says so. Psalm 46:10 says, be still and know that I'm God. Be still, stop the chatter, the hustle, the chase, and know your strength comes from Him. This isn't about them, it's about you. You're not here to fix their blindness or force their applause. You're here to live bold, to guard your peace, to shine even when they turn away. Every time you choose silence over shouting, action over arguing, leaving over lingering, you're telling the world and yourself, I'm enough. So stand firm. Stop explaining your heart to people who don't. Stop bending for folks who don't value you. Start trusting God's got you. Because He does. Your power's not in their hands. It's in yours, backed by the one who made you. Walk in that today, tomorrow all.